Corn update, week 4, I believe. This corn out here at my 11 acres was planted about a month ago, just over a month. And it's coming out of yellow stage, which usually you see after the plant comes up out of the ground, the leaves will turn yellow. And that's because it's transitioning from a phase of using the seed reserves, the energy reserves that are stored in the seed, and it's switching over to putting chlorophyll in its leaves so it can start producing energy for it. So usually you see it yellow up after it comes up out of the ground for a while, and then it starts to turn green, and once it turns green it just takes off like nuts. Here we got my field. Now the corn is looking pretty good, it's all green, and I'm not seeing too many deficiency syndrome or deficiency symptoms in the leaves. Right now the majority of them that I'm seeing are about V4, which there are, and how you determine the stage is you look at the corn plant. There's a little dinky guy, we'll ignore him. So here's the first leaf that came up out of the ground, right? So this is the first leaf, second, third, and fourth. So you count up until the one that's completely unwhorled, and this one is pretty well completely unwhorled, so it's about V4. And some people are going through and starting their second pass of spraying because they have so many acres to do. We're not too concerned about that quite yet, because looking around you can tell there's not hardly any weeds in this field, at least. You know, you got a spot of some corn from last year, some volunteer corn over there, but that's no real issue. Now, depending on how fast this stuff shoots up, because we've been having cold, wet weather for the last few weeks, and the moisture is great, but the only downside is that the cold doesn't really help the corn grow any, because the corn is a C4 plant, which is a reference to what kind of photosynthesis it uses. Soybeans are C3, corn is C4, which means it takes advantage of the hotter weather. And soybeans are a little bit cooler plant. Soybeans are optimum around, I believe, somewhere in the 60-70 degrees weather. And corn is effective anywhere between 86 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 106 degrees Fahrenheit, or somewhere up there. So anywhere in there the corn's going to go great. And we haven't had a whole lot of days that have been over 85. So the corn's been kind of slow to get a kick off yet, but like today is hot and humid. So I'm expecting to see this field start shooting up some more. And everything's looking pretty good. I don't really have any complaints. We went through and checked the population a few weeks ago, and the population is 34,000. I'll come through later and again and do that, because it can change throughout the year as some plants die off as they get bigger. So we'll see where that goes. And we'll be looking at coming through to cultivate in probably a week or so, I'd say. We came out here to check 2 days ago if it was ready to cultivate, and it's not tall enough yet, because if we come through and dig up these middle rows here, it'll push the dirt over on the corn plants, and it's not really something we want quite yet. So, you know, if we come through with the cultivator and push the dirt on it when it's a little bit taller, it won't cover up the leaves. So we're holding off on cultivating this field quite yet, or not quite yet. So that's all I really have to say about this field for this week. We'll see where things go. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of complaints. I would go through and show you the root system on these plants this week, but unfortunately I left my knife at home because I had to go give a presentation this morning at a school about drones, and I didn't figure it'd be a good idea to walk into a school with a knife in my pocket, or even park outside with a knife in the car, so I just decided that I'd leave it at home. So be sure to stay up to date with my videos. And in reference to my clothing sale, it's been a good success. I got everything that I wanted, and we're over our threshold for putting How Farms Work down the sleeve, which is what I wanted. And so now that's going to be put on all the sweatshirts. If you haven't ordered any yet and you're planning on it, I advise that you do so now, because then you can have How Farms Work printed down the sleeve. If you're holding off because maybe you want a different color, which I can't blame you, because sport gray is kind of a blah color in my opinion, but it's good for working around on the farm because no matter how much grease you get on it, it doesn't really make it look that bad. So, like I said, be sure to get your clothing orders in by June 15th if you want How Farms Work printed down the sleeve. Otherwise, any ordered after that might not. They might if I decide to purchase a stock inventory just to keep some on hand. So, if you guys have any other questions, be sure to ask, and be sure to check out my other videos, subscribe, and check out my Facebook page, because that's been growing pretty well, pretty quickly, right along with my YouTube channel, How Farms Work. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.